Hey athletes, welcome to Calisters Academy. In this video, we will be talking about how to start calisthenics and how to progress in calisthenics. Also, I will talk about some of the most asked questions about training, such as how many days you should rest, how long you should work out, and many more. So make sure to stay until the end. As I talked in my previous video, in calisthenics we use our own body weight as a resistance when training. So it is really easy to get started with calisthenics because you don't need a lot of equipment. But before you start, you need to have a purpose or an idea about what you want to achieve from calisthenics. Is it to be strong? Is it to learn static movements? Is it to freestyle? Or is it just to look muscular? Once you choose one or two of these options, then you can make a plan, set goals, and get started. But no matter what option you choose, there is one stage that you always have to pass through, and it is mastering the basics. If you don't master the basics of calisthenics, then you will never have enough strength to go for any options that I mentioned earlier. If you want to build a really tall building, you need a very strong foundation, right? If you don't have a good foundation, the building is much likely to collapse at any moment. So it is the same situation for calisthenics. If you don't have a good foundation, you won't have enough strength to move on and try other different calisthenic movements. So it is really important to master the basics. Okay, so I'm going to split this video into 3 parts. First, I will talk about what are the basics of calisthenics, then I will talk about how to master them, and finally, how to progress in calisthenics. So, what are the basics of calisthenics? Basic exercises are like the simplest exercises in calisthenics. In my opinion, there are only 3 basic exercises in calisthenics, and they are push-ups, pull-ups, and squats. Some people also count dips as a basic exercise, but I think of it as more like a level 2 exercise. Push-ups, pull-ups, and squats are like level 1. It is much easier to do a push-up compared to a dip, so that is why I think dips belong to level 2. However, these exercises are named as basics not only because they are simple, but also these 3 exercises target every large muscle group in your body. Push-ups work on your chest, shoulders, and triceps. Pull-ups work on your lat muscles, biceps, and triceps. Then squats work on your quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, and calves. Not to mention all 3 exercises also work out your abdominal muscles, aka core. So now you might understand why these are called basics, and that these 3 exercises alone can give you a serious, full body workout. Now we have an idea about the basics, so let's move on to the second part of the video. How to master the basics. Even though these exercises are simple, they are not really easy to do if you are just getting started. These movements can be really hard for someone who hasn't done a single pull-up or a push-up in their life. Okay, so if you are an absolute beginner, then how should you start? As I said, first of all you have to master the 3 basic exercises to move forward. If those are too hard for you, don't worry, there are many other exercises to help you to learn these 3 movements faster. In order to become a strong calisthenics athlete, you have to master these 3 movements for like 3 months. I know, it's pretty long, but good things take time, right? If you follow these steps correctly, then in 3 months, you'll be stronger than before, and you will find some hard exercises like dips and different variations of push-ups and pull-ups much easier to do than before. So first, I will talk about the technique you can use to master these movements. Then I will show you some different exercises to master each basic movement, starting from the easiest one. The technique that we are going to use is pretty simple, and I know it is beginner friendly, and it really works because this is the method that I used when I was getting started with calisthenics. What you have to do is you have to keep doing a level 1 exercise for like 2 weeks, and then a level 2 exercise for another 2 weeks, and a level 3 exercise for another 2 weeks. Like that, you have to try 4 to 5 different exercises for the first 2 months, and on the 3rd month, you have to get a little bit creative and create different workouts for each week, or maybe each day. But you can only use pull-ups, push-ups, squats, and different variations of those exercises. Like I said in the beginning, I will talk about how many days you should rest and how long you should work out, and many more at the end of the video. Now, let's talk about the exercises that will help you to learn the basics. If you didn't understand the training method that I just explained, don't worry, I will take an example and explain it better right after I show you these exercises. So, the exercises that you can use to master push-ups are these. Elevated/incline knee push-ups. This one is like a level 1 exercise. It is really easy to do for anyone. Then we have knee push-ups and elevated/incline push-ups. These are level 2 exercises. Then slow knee push-ups and slow elevated push-ups. These are level 3. Next we have incline and knee push-up holds. We can count them as level 4 exercises. And finally we have regular push-up holds, a level 5 exercise. There are 2 positions in a push-up. This position is much easier to do compared to this position. You can do the easy position hold on one week and the next position on the other week. But if you want to make it more challenging, then you can try both positions on those 2 weeks. And if you have a resistance band, then you can use it to do assisted push-ups like this as a bonus exercise. Okay, now let's move on to pull-ups. First, we have Australian pull-ups. I consider this as a level 1 exercise. You can easily increase the intensity by increasing the angle between your ankle and floor. Next exercise is jumping pull-ups. In this exercise, you have to jump and grab the bar and then slowly come down. This is like a level 2 exercise. Then we have dead hang. It is basically hanging on the bar like this. We can say it is a level 3 exercise. Then you can do pull-up holds as a level 4 exercise. It is basically pulling yourself up and holding that position for some time. And finally, we have slow pull-ups as a level 5 exercise. This might be difficult to do for some of you, but you can try half of the rep to make it much easier. As a bonus exercise, you can use a resistance band to do assisted pull-ups. Now, let's move on to squats. To be honest, squats are pretty easy to learn compared to the other 2 exercises. So I will only include 3 exercises, as in 1 exercise for 1 level. You can start with squats on chair. I don't know the real name for this exercise, so I'm going to call it squats on chair. This exercise is performed like a half squat. When you go down, you have to touch the chair with your butt and just come up as a regular squat. I count it as a level 1 exercise. As a level 2 exercise, we have wall assisted squats. To do this exercise, you have to lean against the wall and touch it with your back. Then you just have to go up and down like a regular squat. Next, we have wall sits as the level 3 exercise. This exercise is also performed against the wall. You have to lean against the wall just like the previous one, and then you should slowly slide down until you get to this position. Then you just have to hold that position for as long as possible. If you want to train your legs more, then you can run 200 meters to 1 kilometer as a warm-up before every exercise. Okay, now it's time to take an example and show you how to use the method I talked about with these exercises. On the first 2 weeks, you must go with the level 1 exercise for each 3 movements. You can do 3 to 4 sets of incline knee push-ups with 10 to 15 reps in each set. If you don't know what sets and reps are the action of one completing a strength training exercise, like 1 push-up. Reps is the short form for repetitions. And completing several reps of a specific exercise in a row is called a set. For example, doing 10 push-ups in a row is considered a set. And if you rest for a few seconds and do another 10 push-ups, then it's another set. I hope now you have an idea about sets and reps. So let's continue. As I was saying, you can do 3 to 4 sets of incline knee push-ups with 10 to 15 reps, and then another 3 or 4 sets of Australian pull-ups with 10 to 15 reps. And squats on chair 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 15 reps. And on the second week, you do the same. On the third week, you move on to level 2 exercises. You can do incline or knee push-ups, jumping pull-ups, and wall-assisted squats. Next week, you continue with the same exercises. If you want, you can do knee push-ups on week 3 and incline push-ups on week 4 to make your workouts a little bit different. On the 5th and 6th weeks, you continue with level 3 exercises. Now you get the idea. So, just like I said, continue this method for the first 2 months, and after that, you have to use your creativity to create new workouts with different variations of these exercises. This is an example workout for the first week after those 2 months. You can try explosive push-ups, declined push-ups, explosive pull-ups, wide grip pull-ups, jumping squats, or any variant that you think is good for you. But make sure not to go beyond the variations of the 3 basic exercises. After the 3rd month, you can create workouts with any calisthenics exercise you like. Now I think you have the idea about how you should master the basics of calisthenics. So let's move on to how to progress in calisthenics. Frankly, speaking, the method of progressing calisthenics depends on every person, because not everyone wants to achieve the same goals with calisthenics. One might want to learn statics, another might want to build muscles, and just like that, it depends on person to person. So to continue after the first 3 months, you must set a goal, like gaining 20 pounds in 3 months, learning the muscle up in the next 2 months, or maybe being able to do 100 push-ups in a row, or any achievable goal like that. Then you'll get a rough idea about the path you should take. For example, if you choose to learn the muscle up in the next 2 months, then you must strengthen your back, triceps, and shoulders. If you don't have an idea about what you should do to achieve your goal, then you can search it up on the internet. Then, for the next 2 months, you have to create your own workouts, including the exercises that will help you to strengthen those muscles. I think creating your own workout is far better than buying a workout plan online or using someone else's plan, because you can try out new exercises and training methods and see what works for you, instead of following someone else's workout. It will help you to get a good idea about how each and every exercise will work for you. It might be a little hard to create a workout at the beginning, but once you create a few workouts, then you'll find it very easy to do. However, that is what I would recommend to any beginner to do if they want to progress in calisthenics. Set goals, find the path you should work on, then create your own workouts and start working out. I know this method works because I've tried it and it did work for me. I think this method would suit anyone. If you don't have goals or don't know what you should do, then it's definitely hard to progress. Trust me, because I've done that too. Okay, now it's time to talk about some of the most common and important questions in calisthenics. How long you should rest between sets and exercises? I would recommend anyone to rest between 30 to 45 seconds between each set, and 1 or 2 minutes rest between each exercise. How many days you should work out and you should rest? Working out 3 or 4 days a week is the best option. This depends on person to person, because everyone doesn't have time to work out every day. But if you have time and you really enjoy working out, then you can go 5 days a week. But I wouldn't recommend you do any further than that, because rest is really important when you're working out. So you must rest 2 to 4 days every week. It will help your muscles to recover fast. How long should you work out? If you follow the method that I explained, then in the first 3 months, your workouts will last somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes. No matter if you follow that method or not, if you are a beginner, then your workouts should always last 30 to 60 minutes. But after you master the basics, then you have a lot of new exercises to try out. So you can choose several exercises according to your goal and work out for 60 to 90 minutes. It is always the best. If you have time, then you can work out for like 2 hours. But make sure you don't do a lot of exercises, otherwise you'll be really exhausted after every workout. If you choose to learn statics, then your workouts are definitely going to last for like 2 hours, because training statics takes much more time than usual workouts. How long should you warm up? Warming up before workouts is really important. If you don't warm up before workouts, then it might cause many injuries. Anyway, I would suggest that you warm up for at least 5 minutes before every workout. If you have a treadmill or space to run, then you can start off with running a couple of 100 meters. After that, you must stretch out and warm up your wrists, elbows, and shoulders, because those are the most engaged joints when doing calisthenics. If those aren't warmed up, it might cause many injuries for you. After that, you can do some jump ropes if you have one, and all of this will take you 5 to 10 minutes. So I think that it is the best duration for a great warm-up. Should you work out in the evening or in the morning? Actually, I can't give a specific answer for that, because like I always say, it depends on person to person. If you are a morning person, which means you like to wake up early morning and start your day early, then working out in the morning will give you an extra boost to start your day. But doing very heavy workouts in the morning will cause you to be tired for the rest of your day. If you don't have time in the evening, then this option is good for you. But if you prefer working out in the evening, then it's totally fine to go with that. I'm not a morning person, and I also have time in the evening, so I do my workouts in the evening. For this one, you can choose any option that you're comfortable with. So guys, I hope these are the main questions you have, and if you have any more questions, then make sure to leave them in the comments section or contact me on Instagram. I'll try my best to answer all of them. I think now you have an idea about how you should start your calisthenics journey. I hope this video helped you, And if it did, then please make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.